book of Proverbs, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. In other words, everything that comes to us in our life follows where we place our love. And that's the whole of the teaching of religious science, because I often say what we give our love, time, and attention to, we get more of. In other words, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And because February is the month that we emphasize lovers, we tend to focus on the intimate relationships of life. But all of our life is relationships, isn't it? We have relationships not only to the people around us, but also to our work, to our tasks. We have relationships to everything. And so the experience of the quality of our life is largely based upon the quality of our relationships. How we do with one another, and how we do with the things that face us in our lives. That's how we experience the quality of whether our life works or not. The philosopher Teilhard de Chardin many years ago said, "Love alone is capable of uniting living beings in such a way as to complete and fulfill them. For it alone takes them and joins them by what is deepest in themselves." Notice he doesn't say what is best in themselves. He says what is deepest in themselves. In other words, the whole being, the full person. Love joins us by what is deepest within us. Last week I talked about the shadows and the reflections. The shadows are the things that we project on other people that we don't want to own about ourselves, and reflections, the negative things, and reflections are the positive things that we project on other people that we're scared to own about ourselves. When we are willing to be with the shadows and the reflections, both of the other people in our lives and ourselves, then we deepen and grow stronger. So what does it mean for a relationship to work? What does it mean when they say a relationship works? Whether it's with your parents, you have a relationship with your parents that works? Anybody? Sure we do. Yeah, we do. Some of us, and we have our moments, don't we? We have relationships with our kids that work, with our job or our work, with our schooling, with our dear ones. When our relationships work, it means that there is a flow that allows us to continue to deepen in our experience and trust of each other, and that there is sufficient trust in the relationship for the relationship to live its purpose. You know, if you have an acquaintance and you occasionally go to the movies together, and that's about all you do, there's a certain level of trust that's required for that to be comfortable. But it's not the same level of trust that's required to work with somebody on a team for a project that's very important to you. That's a different kind of trust that's required. So a relationship that works builds the kind of trust that allows that relationship, whatever its form is, to serve its purpose. So I'm going to talk about some of the things this morning that successful relationships of any sort need in order to be able to fulfill their purpose. Now, one of the things I've told you before, and I wish I could remember now where I heard this, is that the most long-lasting marriages, when those people are surveyed to see what it is they're doing that's working, is said the one thing they have in common is not that their background is the same, their religion, their culture, their ethnicity, their ages, but that they are successful at problem solving together. That's the one thing they have in common, that they're successful at problem solving together. See, longevity in a marriage where you're both miserable is not a relationship that's working. Okay? It's long misery, but it's not a working relationship. So it's not any better than a series of relationships that are short and disappear without going deeper. I mean, all of us have a series of relationships with friends and acquaintances and dates and so on that may last short periods of time, and they serve their purpose well enough. But we also want relationships with friends and family and loved ones that are sustained over a period of time, that can weather the rains, the storms, that can continue in spite of those ups and downs, don't we? We look for those places that continue. So I called the talk this morning, Choose with Love. What did I call it? That's it. I was right at the beginning. Choose with love, honor with truth, and commit with sincerity. And I might actually say, choose to love, as much as I say choose with love. Because as Reverend Peggy said earlier, love is a choice. It really isn't an emotion. Love includes emotions, but it isn't an emotion in and of itself. Love includes the times when we feel affection. It includes the times when we feel impatient. It includes the times where we extend our love and care and affection to someone else. And it includes the times when we struggle together to reach understanding. Doesn't it? Because if it doesn't include all those things, if love is only the warm fuzzies, then our love comes and goes, doesn't it? A lot. And what we want is love that continues to flow despite the ups and downs. So we must choose love and re-choose love and re-choose love. It's a decision that is repeated. It isn't a one-time decision. It is a repeated decision. It is a sustained decision. Many years ago, when I was first getting involved in metaphysics, I came across a book by Alan Cohen called Rising in Love, which is a great book on basic metaphysics that's very sustaining and nourishing. And one of the things he says is that whenever anyone asks you for anything, they're asking you for love. So no matter what your answer is to the question they ask you, give them love. You can give a loving no. But what they're asking for is love. So be sure that in your response, you give love, whatever else the answer is. Does this make sense?